All right, addition and subtraction of polynomials. First thing we want to notice is the sentence says subtract x squared plus 8x from negative 3x squared minus 3x plus or minus 7. What I typically have students do is they just see subtract and their brain goes bloop and they just put a minus sign right there and then they subtract this from the first one, and that would be completely incorrect because it says subtract from, which means this guy is supposed to go back here and subtract. So we got to be careful about the wording. So this is supposed to be taken away from this polynomial. This quadratic is supposed to get subtracted by x squared plus 8x. Now, what I would encourage students to do is to bring this down and put a minus sign with parentheses and a math bar. I'm going to put the x squared plus 8x inside there because I like to vertically add and subtract. And so I just caution you to not do anything at all until you get rid of the parentheses by distribution of this negative sign. So we're going to go ahead and distribute that negative sign to each of these. And I'm going to write the whole thing again off to the right. So it's going to be negative x squared minus 8x if I've distributed correctly. And that should be underneath the negative 3x squared minus 3x minus 7. I have vertically aligned my like terms so that way I have a simple process of what was subtraction is now addition because I'm adding values, whether they're positive or negative. I have to figure that part out. That's the algebra nature of the process. But the like terms piece was taken care of by the same variables and the same exponents are now together. So I just need to figure out how many x squareds I have. Well, I write x squared. I had negative 3 of them. I got negative 1 more. So this subtraction actually turned into a larger negative value of negative 4 x squareds. And then I look at the x's. I need to figure out how many x's I have. There are negative 3 x's and another negative 8 x's for a total of negative 11 x's. And then this negative 7 doesn't have a like term, so I just bring it straight on down. Negative 7 goes in there. So this is my difference of these two polynomials, the value after subtraction. And subtracting just means distribute a negative and then actually add. Addition and subtraction of polynomials is the same after you get to the phase where you've distributed the negative sign. All right, in this example, things get a little weird because the polynomials are said to be these big capital letters, C and D. And then off to the right, it says, hey, find an expression that is equivalent with C minus D. This is just a roundabout way of saying, hey, subtract this first polynomial by the second one. Just to make it, keep things light. And so C minus D just means I have the first one, 3x squared minus 6, to be subtracted by the second one. So I'm going to put a minus parentheses 2x squared plus 1. And then what I want to do is, like before, I have a math bar, but I want to distribute this negative sign before I do anything. And I'm just going to rewrite it. So distribute the negative sign. So it's going to be negative 2x squared minus 1. And then up top, the same polynomial just slides onto the right, 3x squared minus 6. And then bring my math bar again and just vertically add any like terms. Here I have 3x squared and I'm subtracting 2x squared. And so that's going to give me 1x squared. I have negative 6, negative 1 more, total of negative 7. This is the result of this difference. And again, subtracting polynomials is just adding after distributing a negative. So if I was to be adding polynomials, it would be the same process except this first step where I distribute the negative sign that was presented to me. All right, let's bring it to the next level and subtract and have a little coefficient fun. So this says to take 3b and subtract 3c's. So they define b as being the linear polynomial 2t plus 10, and they define c to be this quadratic, negative t squared minus t minus 1. And then our job is to work out what 3 times b is minus 3 times c. So it's just the next level of our polynomial addition and subtraction process, specifically subtraction. But I've got basically to just write 3 times this b polynomial. So I'm going to write that up here, 3 parentheses. This whole b polynomial is 2t plus 10. Notice in math I do my nice little curvy t because otherwise it looks like a plus sign. It's supposed to look different than the plus sign that's right next to it. And then I'm going to subtract, so I do a minus 3 times the c polynomial, which is negative t squared minus t minus 1. So that's how you set up 3b minus 3c if we've defined these polynomials to be those values. And then our job is to just distribute and then combine like terms. So I'm going to take this whole thing and move off to the right. I'm going to distribute this 3. So that's going to give me 6t plus 30. And then on the bottom, I'm going to distribute this negative 3 to each term in here. And that's going to give me positive. So negative times negative is positive 3t squared, positive 3t, and then positive 3. So negative times each one of these negatives is going to turn them all positive. So what was subtraction actually turns out to be addition of polynomials. Now, I didn't perfectly line things up. I'm just going to draw a little sideways line to show that this 30 goes with the 3 to make 33. This 6t goes with the 3t to make 9t. And this 3t squared didn't have anything up here above it, so it's just by itself. There's no like terms with it, so 3t squared plus 9t plus 33 is my final result of this polynomial addition of a negative 3. So it's technically subtraction, but we'll say it's addition of a negative.